Hey! Welcome.
Wake
You
up.
are selling cars. I'm Christian Anderson. This is the gorgeous Marni Batista, and you have stepped into the dating den. And
Abruptly.
If you're just sitting at the computer, we like to do that. Hey! Shh! There's people at my cubicle next to me are really loud. Okay, so.
We are talking about a big topic today. We get asked this all the time. And the question is around men who vanish, men who disappear. We call them in the manimal category Mr. Elusive. Okay. And we did an episode where we talked about what causes men to vanish.
Right.
And so our parentheses here would be men who vanish, let them go. Right?
This is not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing because it vets out who's keeper and who's not.
That's what data dating is all about. And if
Exactly.
he vanishes, well, you kind of want a guy who sticks around, don't you? So, all the best.
Exactly. Now, if there's a pattern in your dating story that men vanish, you want to tune in here because we're going to talk about what may be happening that you could shift or change to reduce the chance someone may vanish. So we're going to start out with an angel card.
With an angelic card.
Le carte d'angel. Did I say that right? Okay, I'll pick.
I love it when you speak German.
That's so random.
You're speaking French, right?
I know. Joy.
Yay!
Wow. How does that fit in?
Well, I think that obviously, having men vanish from your life is probably not the most joyful thing. So hopefully we'll be talking about creating more joy in your life by having less vanishable men.
Well, I think, and also this is really important because it's how you frame up the things that happen to you in your life that gives you joy. And so if joy comes from within, so if you can find the place where someone's leaving is actually creating an opportunity for someone to come into your life, then there can be joy that comes from that.
Right.
So also, the last piece, which I think is really important, is that we get to create our own joy. So if you can take this episode and look at what can I do to make some changes that will add joy to my life.
Sure.
There you go.
And that's so attractive.
So this was
BTW
perfect.
as well.
Super. Okay, so
I think one way
what happens?
I think a good metaphor to use for yourself that men find really attractive is that idea of mystery, right?
Okay.
And I don't mean like mysterious woman, just
like
a little
aloof,
mystery.
not aloof, not hard to get.
Not aloof, but we love a mystery, right?
Okay.
And so if you think about it like Lost, like a good episode of Lost, we kept on coming back each week, so we wanted to figure out why is there a polar bear hanging out in this tropical atmosphere, right? And there's all these different things. So that it comes back to the idea of less is more. And sometimes men, when they get too much info, and it can cause them to peace out because men don't share a lot of information a lot with men. Other men, that's not a way that we really communicate a lot. Now, much later in a relationship, when there's a lot of trust built, we start to form a formal structure. Then that's where a lot of information gets passed around, a lot of opening, and a lot of emotion starts happening.
Right.
But in the first opening dating experiences, if there's a lot of information, a lot of stuff, talk about emotion, things like that, just too much information from the jump, that can cause a man to kind of backpedal.
Right. So the other thing is oversharing.
Yes.
So like oversharing about your medical situation, oversharing about your your divorce, your financial situation. Yeah. So really what comes across from the man's point of view, from what I hear you saying, is it's almost like they can't put you in context of who you are because you basically keep throwing out little possible flags.
Sure.
Right? And because all of us are unfortunately ruling out more than we're ruling in.
Right.
A man can be like, she was really nice and I had a great time, but then when he goes home, and I think this is important, he'll be on the date and he'll be like, oh my God, I had such a great time. And then he'll go home and he's like, no.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I think the 50-50 rule is good, you know what I mean? That allowing, there's some rules out there where you let him do all the talking, blah, blah, blah. I think a good 50-50, if we know that we're both going into this date to find out a lot about each other. If you're dominating the conversation, I pull back. If you think, I've been talking 75% of the time, maybe not a good sign. So allow this good 50-50. We're both learning a lot about each other.
Okay.
Therefore, less is more, and we want to discover more about one another.
Okay, so no oversharing. Talk about 50%. Yeah. And I think the other thing is don't create strong boundaries around pacing. Because what happens, I hear a lot of women, when a man is really into them, instead of holding the boundary, like let's still go slow and get to know each other, they're so excited the guy's really into them that they kind of launch into this like 24/7. Yeah. And I think that can freak a guy out.
Totally.
Right? He's like, oh my God. And then all of a sudden, you might think, oh gosh, now she's going to expect this.
Yeah.
I'm in a relationship, but I'm not what So your job, even if he's really super into you, is to create boundaries around pacing.
Absolutely, because if you go head into it, it will just sink the ship. Take your time. We talk about this all the time. The slower you go, the faster you'll get there. If you had a great date, don't text him the next day. Wait for him to text you. I still think really mystery is a huge thing. Not aloofness. Just share all that great emotions with your girlfriends at the time. Do not share with him right now. Let him try to earn that and discover it from you. Let him try to pursue it and get more of that.
And so when he says like on Friday night and he asks you out and you have a great time, and then he says, do you want to hang out tomorrow afternoon? And you want to say yes, say no.
Yeah.
And then he says, when are you free? Monday. Right? Like, it's your job to hold the boundary. That way, he can go gradually, and he can really consider it. I swear, from my experience, I'm sure you agree, one of the major causes of vanishing that's so shocking, because they seem so into you, is when it goes too quick, too fast, and too much, and a guy doesn't have the skills to communicate. He doesn't want to make you cry. He feels bad, so he puts on his Nikes, and he's like, bye.
Yeah. And some men really like to do a 2-week boot camp with you and then peace out too. So you can slow that down.
I'm kidding.
They just like to jump into it for 2 weeks of just relationship. Oh, I got my fix and now it's getting too much and I'm going to go.
You go. Okay, so, Craig is like, look, he's giving us that look.
Killing us. All right, so we will see you on the next Dating Den episode. That's Marni Batista. I'm Christian Anderson and we are out.